So I was talking about chord fragments, and I said I'd do a little video on them. And the idea here is that you want to find just a couple of tones that imply the chord rather than to play the whole chord. So, if I have my big A major bar chord like everybody learns, I can play just the A and the C sharp, the root and the major third. Even without a bass player, in the context of the song, it's almost always understood that that's an A major. If it's minor, I take that C sharp and I move it down to C. But something kind of cool happens in a blues where instead of playing straight major chords, you're often playing, well, you are playing dominant chords. That's sort of definitional of blues, when the tonic is actually a dominant chord. And so if I want to just find a fragment that defines a dominant chord, a seventh chord, it's actually going to be the major third and the flat seven are going to be the characteristic tones. And so if we look at the notes of an A7 chord, it's root A, C sharp is the major third, E is the fifth, the flat seven is G, and the A is the root again, and that repeats again. Here's C sharp, the third, fifth is E, dominant seven, flat seven is the G, and here's the root again. So I said it was the seventh and the third that define the color or characteristic of the A chord, the A7. So here I can just play the C sharp, that's the major third, and the G natural. So in a 1-4-5, my one chord is really just this. And what Bro's big insight was to identify ways to simply play chord changes without moving your fingers very much. And so this is just a cool move. There's the one chord. Now the four chord in an A blues is D7, and that's here. And if you learn the C7 here, you just move it up a whole step, and that's D7. Now the notes of the D7 chord are D is the root, F sharp is the major third, A is the fifth, C natural is the flatted seventh, and then back to D again. And so if I want to play the flat seven and the major third, I can do this. So C natural on the third string, fifth fret, and F sharp on the fourth string, fourth fret. And that gives me a D7 sound. Now, you notice one cool thing, that is identical to what I was doing for the A7, except it's down a fret. The real interesting part, at least to me, is that the notes function in the opposite way. So in other words, for that A, it's third on top, seven just below, but for the D, it switches places. It's seventh on the top, third below, but it still gives you those chords. So in a 1-4, the 1-4 part of the 1-4-5, you have, okay? Well, and then for the 5 chord, it's really simple. I don't have to change, again, my fingering. I just take that D and I slide it up 2 frets, and that's E7, which is the 5 chord. And again, the D natural is the flat 7 of E, and then the G sharp is the major third. So 1-4-5 would be, here's 1, 4, 1, to the 5, bop, da da da, 2, 1. And the thing Bro was so great at was he also then figured out how to play all these tricky melodies while he was comping himself like that, and he didn't have to move his comping chords too much. Now I am not anywhere like a Lenny Bro. I can barely do this, but I'll give you the sort of the flavor of it at least. And that is, here's the 1, 4, the 1 again. And then the one little extra thing, so that's 1, 4, 5 with a little melody over top, and the actual chord tones that define the color of the chords, not changing my fingering at all, just sliding them up and down frets. And so one other kind of cool side note is Bro also found other things just using that shape. So here's, you've heard this move before, you know, 1, 6, 2, 5, you've heard of that? That's A, F sharp, B, and E, you know, 1, 6, 2, 5. Well, it turns out you can use that shape for the 1, 6, 2, 5. 1, 6, 2, 5. So there you go, you know, the Bro ending. Anyway, hope you dig that.